Hi everyone. It's been a while since I've done one of these. A couple of months. um, I've been picky with what I've bought, but I've got 10 new tapes to show. Um, had some personal stuff go on. So yeah, I haven't really been in the mood to make any new videos, but I've got 10 new tapes, so let's talk about them. Yeah. Um, This is the first one. This is what I have on TV now. Street Law. Well, I guess that says Anonymous Avenger. Didn't know that. But yeah, Street Law. This has Franco Nero. It's a shame that. Sorry. I'm trying to find a comfortable way to hold the phone. It's a shame that he never got his due in Hollywood, in American films. But yeah, it's an Italian crime film. I know I haven't. The spine's like really faded. It's probably one of the worst spines I have. um, it's an Italian crime film. I haven't talked about those yet. Let me turn this down a little. Um, I have a soft spot for Italian like eurocrime. Um, Franco Nero. I think this is his best film, other than Django. I think he's most well known for Django. It's a revenge film. Um, I don't know. I read an article online that kind of compares this to the Italian 70s male version of I Spit on Your Grave, which I think is a bit steep. No one gets raped in this film. But I guess that kind of shows how Italians view men in the 70s and what men should have been capable of doing. But anyway, yeah, that's Street Law. It's really good. It's really interesting. It's not like other Italian crime films. It's kind of a slow burn. It kind of builds up. And I have another Italian crime film, Blazing Magnum. It has another name, and I'm forgetting it right now. I apologize. This one is insane. This is if Street Law is kind of a classic in that it's a slow build and you have to kind of be patient and you have to wait for things to happen. Blazing Magnum is the exact opposite. Blazing Magnum is absolutely insane. It's got one of the best car chases I've ever seen in a film. Again, I'm not too educated on Italian crime films. This was shot in Canada with an Italian crew, so I guess it's dubbed. It has the feel of an Italian crime film. There's a car chase, an incredible car chase. There's a fight involving cross-dressing men in a hotel room that ends in a death. It's really, once it starts, it doesn't stop. It's just action and bullets and death. And John Saxon's in it. Most know John Saxon from being Nancy's dad in A Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 3. But yeah, I'm not upset that I bought this. It's really faded, but that's okay. And this one, oh my goodness, I'm so happy that I found this one. It's called The Last Match, which doesn't make any sense because American football, you don't call a football match a football match. It's a football game. But just the cover alone, it was worth paying what I paid for this. It wasn't too expensive, but I'm part of a Facebook group, a VHS group, and this is kind of a movie that's talked about a lot on there, and it's never been released on DVD. It's never been released in the States on any format, but as you can see, it's about an American football team. That's Ernest Borgnine, so that's always a plus. But an American football team, and the spine's really faded as well. It's a shame. An American football team dressed in full, gear, in full, uniform, rescuing the coach's daughter. I think it was filmed in the. Let me turn this down some more. Sorry, in the Dominican Republic, and it's not. I've seen it. It takes a long time to get to that point, and you only really see the crazy football guns and rocket launchers, and there's a guy who punts a grenade in a football up into a helicopter. That only really happens towards the end of the film, but for me, it's enough. It holds me over. Ernest Borgnine holds me over. He's just an actor that, personally, I just can't take my eyes off of him. He's just, when he's on screen, I'm interested in what he's doing. So it's a crazy concept, and I'm glad I finally found it. It's not in my usual what I normally buy, but that's okay. And of course, what would a VHS update be here on my channel without some slasher films? So we have Maniac. This one took me a long time to find. I found one, and it wasn't in this good of condition, so I'm glad I waited. This isn't really good. This is perfect condition. Yeah, Maniac. I have a video on my YouTube channel, on this channel, Mexican lobby card set of Maniac. It's one of my favorite slasher films. Some people don't call it a slasher film because it's from the point of view of the killer instead of the victims, but I think it's a slasher film. But Joe Spinell is just fantastic. It's a shame he passed away when he did, but at least he has this on his resume, and he can be remembered by this, for this. Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can say about Maniac that hasn't already been said. It's violent. It's in your face violent. That's kind of the appeal of it, in a sense. It's very unapologetic. Yeah, so that's Maniac. Here's one I have not watched, The Fan, with a very young Michael Biehn. Most would know him as Kyle Reese from The Terminator, or Hicks from Aliens. I've seen the trailers. I watched a few reviews. I've seen a few scenes on YouTube. So by all accounts, it looks really good. But I have not seen this. It's a slasher film that's kind of gone under the radar for me. But I guess Michael Biehn plays an obsessed fan of this woman who is on Broadway, and he wants to kill her, and he kind of, I guess he wants to kill anyone around her. It looks good. I saw a scene on YouTube, a swimming pool scene where he cuts someone underneath the water in the crotch, and I don't know if it's supposed to kill them or just maim them. It looked pretty brutal, but there's a pretty synonymous oral sex scene, and yeah, I'll be excited to sit down and watch this pretty soon. Yeah, The Fan. And this one's gonna give the cover of this completely gives away the film. So if you have not seen Intruder, I apologize, but if you have seen it, I guess you wouldn't have to worry about it. But this is Intruder. The entire film is a whodunit, and the cover completely spoils the climax, the big reveal at the end of the film. So, just a fair warning. It's him. He's the killer in the film. This is a really good slasher film. It's from the Raimis, the brothers responsible for Evil Dead and and the Spider-Man films. It came out in 89, I want to say. Although that says 88. So maybe it's 88. But anyway, it's a rare case of a late 80s slasher being good. Most mid to late 80s slasher films aren't very good. They'd kind of run their course at that point, and the genre was kind of running out of ideas. I mean, this isn't like groundbreaking or anything, but it's very entertaining. The gore effects, the special effects are terrific. I really like the setting of a supermarket, like after dark, after closing, of a killer walking through a supermarket. You have tons of opportunities to have unique and fun kills, and they do not disappoint. It's very good. It's very gory, but that's perfect. It's in the vein of Evil Dead, where it's kind of silly gory. And I was on a John Carpenter kick, so I bought 3 John Carpenter films that I don't have, that I've been meaning to buy, that I've been saying, oh yeah, I'll get them eventually. So I finally found these for decent prices, and I bought them. Prince of Darkness is I wouldn't say my favorite John Carpenter film, but I think it's his most underrated. This movie genuinely frightened me when I was a child. I'm not a religious man. I'm not big on religion. I'm not mocking you if you are. I'm not trying to offend anyone. And I'm not saying that this film is the sole purpose for me not being religious. But at a young age, I'd say it was like 5-10% of the reason why I wasn't interested in going to church and interested in that stuff. There are other factors as well, but this film certainly didn't help. I really love the story to this. I'm not big on religious themed movies. It just doesn't they don't grab my attention. They don't keep my attention. But the idea that, God and the devil could be extraterrestrial aliens, the idea that I like the dreams, the broadcasts from the future sent back in the past in the form of dreams. I'm big on dreams. I enjoy stuff that has to do with dreams and time travel and things like that. There's just a lot in this. This was his first movie. This is John Carpenter's first movie after, I believe it was Big Trouble in Little China, and he was kind of disillusioned with Hollywood. So this is an independent film, and it's mean-spirited. It's very harsh, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. Yeah, I really enjoy this one, and I can't wait to rewatch it. It's been a long time since I've seen it. And here we have The Fog, another really underrated, John Carpenter film. Kind of lost in between 2 of his more iconic films with Halloween and Escape from New York. It took me a very long time to find a copy of this in decent shape for a decent price, but it was well worth the wait. Spine's a little faded, but that's pretty common with Japanese tapes for anyone who collects them. That. Yeah, I mean, The Fog is really good. It's like a little self-contained ghost story. It doesn't have too much gore. It doesn't need too much gore. There's not much to say about The Fog that hasn't already been said. I think it's one of John Carpenter's most underrated films. I'm glad to have it. I'm almost done with his films, collecting his films on Japanese VHS. I have a few more to get, but I'm not going to rush out and get them. I've kind of finished up the essential ones that I need. I'll say one thing. It's really weird to see Tom Atkins without a mustache. But, yeah, I mean, I can't add to The Fog that hasn't already been said about The Fog. It's a great film. And the last John Carpenter film, I got is They Live. Again, I think this might be his last great movie. Unfortunately, I think after this, they kind of dip in quality. I mean, some people say In the Mouth of Madness is his last great one, but I'm not a huge fan of In the Mouth of Madness, but it's not bad. I just prefer other John Carpenter films over In the Mouth of Madness, but yeah, They Live, again, you know, what can I say that hasn't already been said about They Live? I mean, his films are so iconic and just so ingrained in pop culture and 80s culture. It's hard to look past John Carpenter. He's my favorite filmmaker, without a shadow of a doubt. He's terrific. So yeah, there's They Live. I mean, I'm not really talking about them much because they're amazing and I can't really add to them. And the last one I have here is The Deadly Spawn. This one took an incredible amount of time to find as well. You know, I'm very picky with the movies that I buy. I'm very patient. I'm not going to buy a movie and watch it once and put it on the shelf and never watch it again. I'm going to buy movies that I like to watch, you know, repeatedly. And this is one that I definitely would watch over and over again. But it's in a plastic case. The original plastic case, which is nice. Usually if they came in these cases, they were put into kind of like clamshell cases, and the artwork's a little off and it doesn't fit right, but this one's nice. This one comes in the original plastic case, but this is a fantastic low-budget horror film. Eating Machine. That's the alternate title. I love that. I can't remember the budget. $30,000, $40,000, something like that dollars. The creature effects and the special makeup effects are brilliant. I don't have enough good things to say about The Deadly Spawn. There's so many good scenes in it. I would recommend it. But this is one of my favorite, like, low-budget horror films. It's a cult film. It is a cult film. I think it deserves a little bit more recognition than just being a cult film. But, oh, geez. This is already almost 18 minutes long. I need to wrap this up. People don't want to hear me ramble on about these movies. All right. That's it, guys. Yeah, till next time. Thanks. Bye.